Okay, so this is going to be kind of weird. I've never really done anything like this, so I guess the best place to start, if you're watching this video, you probably read the title. I have just finished Naruto, the Naruto series, and then Shippuden. I think all in all, it's like 700 episodes long, something like that. Before I start talking about the show, I love this show so much. I enjoyed it so much. And I don't really have many people in my personal life to really talk about the show, kind of, and just be able to express everything that I want to express kind of about this show. So I thought this would be kind of the best way for me to be able to do that is just to come on here, make a video, just kind of be able to express everything that I want to be able to express about the show, and then upload it to YouTube. If other people see it and like it, and want to kind of contribute to the conversation, then that is kind of really cool too. So, man, where to start? So kind of full disclosure, I did watch the show utilizing using a filler guide. So there were a number of episodes that I skipped just because I really just wanted like the meat and potatoes of the story. There are so many episodes that me married, two kids, and other hobbies that I have, and obviously a job, real life stuff. I just wanted to get through the show, as best as I could, and I knew trying to watch every single episode of the 700 episodes was just going to take me forever, and I didn't really want to do that. So, man, I just really love this show. It's become one of my, if not my favorite show of all time. It took me about 8 months, I believe. I think I started watching the show in like April or May. Recording this, it's December 28th. I just finished, the show. This is going to be filled with spoilers, so if you haven't seen the show, just do yourself a favor. Go and watch the show. Start with Naruto, obviously. I would say give it 10, 15 episodes. I think that is sufficient. If you love it the way that I did, after that point, you're going to love the entire show. If you don't really like it at that point, I don't know that you'll really, kind of grow to like it. So, yeah. So I'm a big Israel Adesanya fan, the UFC MMA fighter. And, I'd watched his podcast with Joe Rogan a couple of times, but one particular clip from that episode, which I had seen the episode multiple times. I'd seen the clip multiple times, but the short YouTube clip came up on my recommended page, and it was talking. It was Israel Adesanya talking about how, his fight with Anderson Silva, he was, standing like this, and Anderson Silva was standing like this, and how it kind of imitated, the fight during the tuning exams of Rock Lee and Gara. So at that point, I'm like, what? Everyone's always talking about the show. I know there are so many people that are obsessed with the show. Let me go ahead and give it a try. And I just have to say, like, I remember watching a few episodes with my younger brother as a kid. I was visiting. Our parents were divorced. I was visiting one summer in Ohio. He was watching the show Naruto that I had never seen before. Big Dragon Ball Z fan growing up, but I just had never seen Naruto. So, excuse me. So yeah, we were watching it, and I remember it was the really that first Team 7 arc where they fight Zabuza and Haku on the bridge, and I remember watching that. And but yeah, just rewatching the show, just really fell in love with it. It became this is going to sound really bad, but in high school, I remember the kids that we all thought were weird, I guess you could say, they would always run around the cafeteria and around outside the cafeteria with their arms back, running around like Naruto. And I just, at the time, as an idiot 16, 17-year-old kid, and I never watched Naruto, it just never really resonated with me, like why they, were such fans of Naruto. And it's such a beautiful story of friendship, and relationships. Really, that's what the entire show comes down to. But Naruto Uzumaki, for those of you, obviously, if you're watching this, I hope you've watched the show, but just kind of the story of him being this, outcast from his village, and no one really wanting anything to do with him. And the story, obviously, as he evolves over time, everyone in the village comes to love and adore Naruto. So at that point, I got it. Why people that that I thought were quote unquote weird, wrongfully in high school, why those people resonated so much with the character, because I'm sure they felt kind of disconnected from their peers, or from the village, at middle school, high school, whatever it was. And Naruto kind of showed them that kind of against all odds, you can still be the hero. You can be this awesome, interesting, heroic character that everyone is just drawn towards. So I really understood that, and obviously Sasuke is just such a cool character that you kind of grow, not really grow, you're just immediately drawn to him, even though he keeps everyone at arm's length, it seems. You just want to get to know more and more about Sasuke, kind of like a lot of the characters in the show. All of the girls are crazy about him. Naruto is very much drawn to him, views him as this super, super cool guy, although, he sees him as a rival. And yeah, I just thought the show just did such a great job of focusing on Naruto and Sasuke's relationship. That's the common thread throughout the entire show, obviously. Sasuke, due to the tragedies that he's witnessed in his life, just goes down this path of darkness and the pursuit of power, if you will, and is really just stops at nothing to kind of track that and to carry that, so he can achieve the power that he's looking to obviously avenge his family, the Uchiha clan. He thinks he wants to kill Itachi, obviously, for a long time. He and Itachi do fight to the death, but the entire show just does such a great job with all of the characters. I think the writing of the show is great. The character development, the redemption of so many of the show's villains, even like Orochimaru, Madara, Obito, they all get some sense of maybe not redemption, but I would say Orochimaru gets redemption, Obito gets redemption. Madara, I wouldn't call it redemption, but the show does such a good job of making you see the villain's perspective, so that you can kind of go, I don't necessarily agree with what you're doing or the way that you're doing it, but I understand why you're doing it. And it makes you kind of soften on the villains a little bit. And they just do this time and time and time again. Like Gaara, I thought, especially after what he did to Rock Lee at the Chunin exams, crushing his arm, crushing his leg, I just thought there was no way that I would ever be able to forgive Gaara. I hated Gaara. I was always going to hate Gaara. And the show does such a good job of redeeming that character. And he becomes one of my favorite characters. And that's another thing about the show, talking about the characters. It sounds kind of lame, but my favorite character is probably Naruto. He's the main protagonist of the show. It's named after him. Rocking the Naruto shirt with the Sasuke and the Susanoo on the back. But obviously, I love Naruto. I love Sasuke. I love Itachi. I love Kakashi. I love Jiraiya. I love Rock Lee. I love Shikamaru. I love Gaara. Just so many great characters in this show. I could go on and on, really. But there's just this theme again and again in the show of redemption. And there were many times in the show I felt like, I know I'm rambling all over the place. I really apologize for that. But there were so many times in the show where I thought Sasuke is going to be the one character in all of this that is irredeemable. Even Nagato, even Pain, was redeemable. But the show just kept kind of pushing Sasuke further and further, kind of kicking the can down the road almost. And it makes sense. The entire show is about the relationship of Naruto and Sasuke, about how Naruto will stop at nothing to save his friend and to redeem his friend. But there were a lot of times I was really concerned that Sasuke at the end that Naruto was going to be a tragedy, that the story of Naruto, not Naruto Uzumaki, but the show itself was going to be this tragedy of this kid that wasn't able to save his best friend. And I was really concerned about that for a long time, that Sasuke just wasn't going to be redeemable. But the show again just does such a great job over and over and over again, of redeeming these characters, and at the end Sasuke is redeemed. I just want to talk a moment, about Naruto versus Shippuden. When I finished Naruto and I was getting ready to start Shippuden, everyone told me Shippuden is so much better than Naruto, that it's the superior show. Excuse me, and I would agree. However, I think the peak, what I got the most hype for, what I enjoyed the absolute most. So in Shippuden, the way that I had to watch it, it wasn't clear what the seasons were. So I don't really know the seasons of Shippuden, but Naruto I watched on Netflix, which Netflix kind of has the seasons laid out. And season 5 of Naruto is by far my favorite. This is where Sasuke really decides that he's going to go and seek out the power of Orochimaru. This is where we didn't know if Rock Lee was ever going to be able to train or fight, go on missions, if he was going to be done as a shinobi. And probably my favorite stretch of the show is, Sasuke is stuck in this like jar, I guess you could call it, as they're doing the death. It's been so long since I watched that now, it's been months, but basically where Sasuke had to die within that jar and then come back to life. But Naruto is fighting Kimimaro, and Kimimaro, the bones coming out of the skin as the weapons. It looks like Kimimaro is about to kill Naruto, and here comes this character out of nowhere to save Naruto, and it's Rock Lee. And Kimimaro asks Rock Lee, who are you, or who is this? And he says, I'm the rejuvenated Leaf Village's handsome devil. And that was just, Rock Lee is just one of the funniest characters in the show. He's really lost throughout Shippuden, which I thought was a shame. But that moment where the last time that we saw Rock Lee, it just was not clear whether or not he was ever going to be Rock Lee again. And I loved that character so much. And to see him come back, save Naruto, basically tell Naruto, go on ahead, I've got this. And then, he fights Kimimaro. And then Naruto goes on, and finds Sasuke at the final valley. And they just start going back and forth. And, Sasuke asks Naruto, and I'm kind of paraphrasing here again. It's been a while since I've actually watched this part of the show, so I don't remember the lines or the quotes exactly, but Sasuke essentially asks him, you've never had a family, you don't know what it's like, what I'm going through, why do you care? And Naruto tells him, basically, you are the closest thing that I've ever had to family, and I'm not going to give that up. And I'm getting goosebumps thinking about this right now. But Naruto tells Sasuke, and I will never forget this, he tells Sasuke, I will break every bone in your body to save you and bring you back to the Hidden Leaf if that's what it takes to save you. And I just thought that was so powerful, things that I've gone through in my own personal life, in my childhood, that really resonated with me. That this was the first friend, the first person that really Naruto ever really connected with, outside of Iruka Sensei. But he said, I will break every bone in your body. I will hurt you. I will put you through so much pain if it means I'm going to save you. And I just thought that was so great. Now, obviously, they fight, and Sasuke goes and joins Orochimaru. But that fight and just kind of that whole stretch of the end of season 5 of Naruto was so amazing. But Shippuden, it was just phenomenal. So many people talk about the Pain arc, which I think was incredible. I thought Pain was a great villain. One of the things that bothered me about that is the Rinnegan rebirth. I just felt kind of cheapened, like the weight of like a lot of the deaths of the characters in that arc. For instance, like Kakashi. Like when Kakashi died, He's one of my favorite characters. I was absolutely heartbroken. I couldn't believe it. I'm glad they brought Kakashi back, don't get me wrong, but it just makes that arc it doesn't weigh quite as much to me. I would say one minor criticism that I would give Naruto is outside of like Jiraiya, Neji, obviously like Kushina and Minato, obviously dying really before the show starts, but there aren't many, like main characters that die, at least not for good. Just a minor criticism that I had of the show. You don't really, that weight doesn't carry through because you either think someone's dead and they're not dead, or they die and then they're kind of brought back. So yeah, just one little minor criticism of the show, but Shippuden was so good. My favorite anime, I haven't watched many anime before Naruto, but my favorite anime before Naruto was Dragon Ball Z. And as cool as Dragon Ball Z is, and as fun as it is, and how cool it is to be a Super Saiyan and a lot of the fights in Dragon Ball Z, it is laughable to me how much better of a show Naruto is than Dragon Ball Z. Just like the writing, the stakes of the show to me just felt much higher. It had like more of a grounded sense of like realism, I guess you could say. Like especially the fight scenes, if somebody, got stabbed or something like that in Naruto, like you really felt the weight of, the consequences of the battle, of the fight. Asuma is another important character that I forgot to mention that passed away, but I just felt Naruto did such a good job of just always kind of raising the stakes, from the pain arc. After the pain arc, they really mostly start to go into the arc of, is it the fourth or fifth Great Ninja War? I don't remember at this point, but basically like everyone, versus, Kabuto and Madara, Uchiha, and Obito. That whole arc I thought was phenomenal. The biggest criticism that I had, I would say the biggest criticism I have of Naruto was at the very end. Like Madara is painted to be this like the big baddie the entire time, and then at the end it's like, nope, it's Kaguya. And we're like, we don't know who this character is. They do a great job of going into the lore and the history and everything like that, but you don't have that same level of disdain and I guess hostility for Kaguya that you do for Madara Uchiha, which I just thought was really weird. I kind of get why they did that, because they had to really flesh out like the power of the Sage of Six Paths, and why Naruto and Sasuke were able to have the powers that they had, which they end up using to defeat Kaguya. But I think you could have done without that and just allowed them to defeat Madara with those powers, and I think it all made kind of enough sense. I felt like that was unnecessary. So I mean, looking back, the show is so good. If that's the biggest criticism that I have, it's a damn good show. It really, really is. I was so relieved that Naruto at the end is, through his love and friendship, the relationship that he and Sasuke had, that Naruto is basically able to save Sasuke. And then after that, I kind of get why they do it. They kind of show you, Sasuke's story. They show you Itachi's story. I'll talk about Itachi more in a moment. They go through kind of some stuff with Shikamaru, which I thought was pretty cool. Just kind of like fleshing things out, I guess, for Boruto and things that are to come later on. And then obviously, Naruto and, Hinata's wedding, which I didn't get enough of. I couldn't get enough of that at the end. Just like everything with like the wedding video and, everyone congratulating them. I thought that was fantastic. I would say Naruto gave me 99%, Naruto and Shippuden gave me 99% of what I wanted to happen in the series ended up happening. Like Naruto meeting Kushina, I cannot tell you how much I loved the episode or two episodes that Kushina was in, getting to meet Naruto, getting more of the backstory, all the time that Naruto got to spend with Minato. The only thing Naruto did not give me was Jiraiya, kind of like the satisfaction that Jiraiya would have had from knowing that Naruto really was the child of prophecy. We got to see, all of the old Hokage come back. Naruto got, to speak with, Kushina, and got, to spend time with Minato, and, all of these things. We couldn't have got some type, and I'm not into Boruto yet, so I don't know what happens, but I feel like it belongs in Naruto. We didn't get any kind of satisfaction with Jiraiya. Like Jiraiya passes on the message to Naruto as he's dying. But I just feel like they could have fit in a way for Jiraiya to just give him the old attaboy, and to be able to appreciate that basically his life mission, his life goal, had really, for the most part, been accomplished. Like, they're now really living in this time of almost like world peace, and Naruto really is the child of prophecy. So if I just have one gripe with kind of something they left out, it was really that. Like the Kaguya stuff they could have done without, but like we really needed something with Jiraiya, I thought, in my opinion. But it's just such a beautiful show, beautiful story. Like I said, it might be my favorite show of all time. I've been thinking about this for a few weeks. I don't feel like it's recency bias for me to say that. 700 episodes. I mean, I probably watched somewhere around 450 to 500. I'm guessing, cutting through all of the filler, but just a phenomenal show. And then they do such a great job with Itachi. Itachi seems like the ultimate villain, towards the beginning of this show, where they're talking about how he slain his entire clan, how he was just this, to kill your entire family, that takes a real, sick individual. And over time, as the truth about Itachi is revealed, he goes from, you perceive him as kind of the ultimate villain, the ultimate baddie, and at the end, he's the ultimate hero, protecting his younger brother, protecting his village. Like the final scene where, Itachi tells Sasuke that basically, no matter what, I will love you always, like, is just like, just so well done. Like, as a big brother myself, like, no matter what happens, no matter your differences with your younger, brother, your younger siblings, over anything else, you always want to protect them. And to see that, from Itachi, and Itachi really wanting to save Sasuke, realizes the mistakes that, he made as an older brother, kind of pushing and keeping Sasuke at arm's length, and then, kind of convincing himself that the way to make things right, and the best thing for Sasuke, was to make him hate Itachi. And Itachi realizes at the end that, I pushed you too far. I've pushed you over the edge. And he tells Naruto that, I can't save Sasuke. You're the only one that can. And then just at the end, he just apologizes to him, and lets him know, like, no matter what you do from here, I will love you always. Like, no matter if you continue to go down this path, or, if you're redeemed. Just really, really great. And then, to see Sasuke kind of flesh out all of these, feelings and thoughts and questions that he has. And then he decides, you know what, I'm going to come back, I'm going to save the village, and I'm going to become the Hokage, and just kind of reshape everything. And then he and Naruto get into, the final battle at the Final Valley. And he realizes, like, all right, maybe there's a different way to go about this. One other, I keep saying my only criticism, but one other criticism that I have is, like, you couldn't have had Sasuke at the wedding. Like, I know, he's kind of out doing his own thing, and he's, really trying to redeem himself with everyone in the village. Sakura gets the note from Sasuke. I can't read Japanese, so I don't know what that said. And I watched the dubbed version of this. I know there are the purists out there that are going to hate me for that, but I just enjoyed, like, the voice acting, and reading subtitles always distracts me from the show. I just had this conversation with my wife because she loves watching every show with the subtitles on, English, Spanish, Italian, Japanese, whatever. And I told her I just get so distracted watching the subtitles at the bottom, and I kind of miss what's going on in the show. And she tells you, no, you have to glance at the subtitles, read it, and then look back. And I'm just like doing this the whole time. It just gives me a headache. So yeah, I watched this dubbed, and then once I kind of got too far, it was like, well, I know all these characters' voices by now. I don't want to confuse myself by trying to learn, new, voice actors and how they match with the different characters. So yeah, I watched the whole thing dubbed. I'm going to watch. A friend of mine told me that I need to watch a movie called The Last, the Naruto movie, and then I can get kind of right into Boruto. But yeah, I've been talking for 25 minutes now about this show. My goodness, it feels like 5 minutes. I love this show so much. I wish I would have found it sooner. It really, it's going to hold a special place in my heart for a long time. Just enjoyed the show so much. I don't know that I'll ever watch it again in its entirety, just because it is so long. There are so many episodes, but just a beautiful story. I love everything about it. I love the characters. I love the writing. I love the voice acting. I love the art. I'm really, really sad that I'm done with Naruto. I'm gonna go back into this shinobi world with Boruto. I'm definitely going to watch that, but I don't know that it will be the same. And I'm just incredibly grateful. It's not often that you find a show that is this good, that is this long. And I know obviously the source material is from the manga, so I'm sure the creators of the manga have maybe more to do with this than anything. Again, I'm still really new to anime. I don't know how a lot of the adaptations work and things like that from the manga to the anime, but I'm just so grateful for like the story and the way that it was told. And it's not often that you watch a show that long and all of your questions get answered. Almost everything gets a payoff. Jiraiya, if I had to pick any two things, Kaguya, fine. I can deal with the Kaguya and all of that. Kaguya Otsutsuki. If I remember that name, I'm gonna go look that up after we're done here. I'm gonna be very proud of myself. But yeah, just like no payoff with Jiraiya, with Naruto really fulfilling the prophecy. And then Sasuke not at the wedding, not at Naruto's wedding. That was really kind of whack. And then Aruka, the moment, kind of a few minutes before, at least in this show, I know it's probably like the night before or a few nights before the wedding, but where Naruto asks Aruka to basically stand in and his father at the wedding. I just thought that was phenomenal. It's so rare that you come across a show this long, this good, answers all your questions, just very satisfying. I will forever be a Naruto fan. I can't wait to, I have a bunch of Naruto shirts now and hoodies and things like that. I'm going to play, some of the Naruto video games that I think kind of like go throughout the story. So that will kind of be fun to replay that. But yeah, I'm going to get into Boruto. So, yeah, I'm like 28 minutes into this. So if you listen to this, for this long, I'm guessing that you really love Naruto. Yeah, I live tweeted throughout a lot of this show. I would react to something and I would just tweet it out. So interacting with some of my Twitter followers with that was a lot of fun, and them kind of reliving the show kind of through my tweets and saying, oh, I've been waiting for you to get to this part, and having conversations with them. And yeah, just I'm a huge fan of this show. I always will be a fan of this show. One of, if not my favorite show of all time now. And I'm really sad that it's done. But again, I'm excited to get into Boruto and kind of see where the story will go here. So thank you guys so much for listening. Believe it.